Hey, everybody, grab your goat, grab it tight because we're going to do a seance. Well, sort of. We're going to talk about a seance. Welcome to the Witches Movie Coven. Yes, witches, real witches, talking about witches, sometimes real witches in movies. He made it, Richard-Lael.
Yeah,
Yay!
but hi, but it's not letting me add my channel, so I don't know what to say. I'm gonna just turn the camera around sideways. I don't know. It's cursed.
I got started early on the hexing, so sorry.
Anyway, I am Patti Negri. I am one of your hosts. You might know me from my regular podcast, The Witching Hour. You might know me from Ghost Adventures, of which I have a brand new episode on tonight in Discovery. But let me pass this on to my beautiful co-host. Let's go in a circle, starting with Courtney.
That's me. I'm Courtney Buckley, ghost bait on Scared and Alone. And I was scared and alone in my own house watching this today. So we'll talk about that, I'm sure, more later. But I'm glad to be here tonight.
Thank you. And Heather.
Hi, I'm Heather Greene. I'm the author of the book Lights, Camera, Witchcraft, a critical history of witches in American film and television. And I am also an author I'm an editor at Llewellyn Worldwide, where I get to work with lots of witchy and occult authors, and a journalist covering all things occult in the media, and a member of this wonderful coven every Wednesday. So happy to be here.
Happy. And with the golden locks, Jason.
I'm Jason Mankey, prolific witchcraft author, often traveler. This is my latest book, High Priest, which will be out in 2 weeks, a biography of Raymond Buckland. And I am ready tonight to get hexed.
Yeah. Well, we missed hexing last week completely. It was we were something missing. And last and absolutely never ever least, Richard-Lael.
I am Richard-Lael. Richard-Lael is one name, not two. If I were Richard, I would be a. That is right. I'm the gentleman psychic. I'm a psychic and a medium. I used to be a psychic and a small, but I gained some weight. But I'm working on that. Strangely, I cannot see Miss Courtney Buckley. Can anybody else see Miss Courtney Buckley?
Yes.
Here I am. Surprise. I'm still here.
Your profile is blank. I don't know. I don't know. I can't see your pretty face. I feel like I've already been cursed. I don't know.
Oh, well,
depends on what you have to say about tonight. So
yes. Maybe Jason. Or maybe she can't curse you or hex you. Anyway, tonight's movie. Oh, Dollcraft. That's my new book. Thank you, Rob, producer. It goes out in June. Beautiful intro by Heather Greene. Oh, look at, he's got one too. I finally have one too. The Care and Feeding of Haunted Dolls and Magical Puppets. So, on to tonight's movie. Really, grab your goat tight. We watched Hereditary. I hope you all watched it. I really hope you all watched it. But just in case you didn't, or you watched it and you forgot already, Richard-Lael, do you have an unbiased synopsis of this lovely film?
I certainly do. Where do I begin? Off with your head. Dance until you're dead. Heads will roll.
Sorry.
The synopsis is: there is a young woman, a family who lives in a very nice house. The woman is, she creates models, she crafts little houses, and she one psycho house, she crafts houses, and then she somehow loses the line between reality and insanity. She comes from a long line. It's hereditary, a long line of people who are on the verge of schizophrenia, of mental decay, of mental illness of sorts. And of course, it's relatable because there's family drama, there's family child, there's a tragedy and death in the family. There's an older child who feels guilt from something that he has done, and then of course, here's how it actually goes down. A child who is too young to be going to kegger parties ends up at a kegger party where she has a brownie, and then of course she has allergies, and so she can't breathe. For whatever reason, she doesn't have her EpiPen. for whatever reason. And then she goes, the older child is trying to take her to the hospital because he clearly knows that she is suffering. And she, like a clever child, sticks her head right out the window at the same time that a post comes along and again whoops upside your head. Her head does get lolled off, and then of course there's drama with the family. The mother, Colette, this what is her name? Toni Collette. She goes through the emotions as one would expect when one has lost a child. And then, of course, you discover that there are bodies in the attic and it was her deceased mother. And then all of the family dies. She's creating these models and things are happening in the real world. And then you find that the oldest son, who has been possessed by a demon at the end, is not crazy. He's just possessed by a demon. And then he is living life as King Paimon, which, of course, was not accurate to the way that King Paimon actually should be portrayed. Roll credits. He's the demon now. Yay. Family is dead. Yay.
Woo! Feel good.
Thank you very much for that very clear and in-depth synopsis of this lovely film. Heather, just any case, is there maybe 5 more things we could know or need to know about this film?
Sure. I'll give you some basics about it, as well as we'll talk about the cast. We'll talk about A24 because that's something that we've mentioned here before, as well as ritual and magic in the film and some other allegorical stuff. So it's a really interesting film with respect to that. So I want to bring some of that up. So basics, this is an A24 film directed by Ari Aster. Its budget was 10 million. It made way more than that. I forgot to get the exact figure, but it was phenomenally successful. It came out in 2018. So I want to get quickly to the cast here. It has some figures that you'll recognize. Toni Collette was already mentioned. Toni Collette was in Muriel's Wedding. She was Mafia Mama more recently. She was in The Sixth Sense. She was also in the Krampus movie we reviewed here, as well as Emma. And she's been in a ton of things. You will recognize her from many of the movies and TV shows. She's been around for quite some time. She's got a very recognizable face and portrayal. Alex Wolff. You will recognize Alex Wolff from The Quiet Place Day One. If you've seen that movie, that's a more recent one. I did, but I couldn't remember placing him, but he was in that movie. He was in the movie Old, as well as Pig, and in the Jumanji movies, and in Oppenheimer. So those are some of the places you might have seen Alex Wolff. Millie Shapiro, one of the more interesting actresses. This is her debut in film. She actually won a Tony Award for her portrayal of Matilda on Broadway. She was on the stage successfully on the stage up until she got to this. This was her debut, and she's been in a couple things since. I think she's been quite successful. And I will do Gabriel Brin next. He is the dad, and he is, again, another face you probably have recognized all over movies. He was been around for a long time. Usual Suspects, one of my favorites from the 90s. He was in that. He was also in the movie Excalibur, which we did here, as well as the show Vikings. You saw him in an whole movie, Point of No Return, which I thought it was funny to bring up because I actually wrote essays on the Point of No Return back in my film days. In school, he was in Little Women. He was in Enemy of the State. He's been in just a ton of movies and TV shows. He's also more recently in a series, I think it's a recent series called Treatment, where he is a psychologist, I believe, and that was a pretty good series. So that's him. And then Ann Dowd. It's very hard for me to see her on the screen and not be terrified just seeing her. So she was in The Handmaid's Tale, Aunt Lydia. So I see her as Aunt Lydia every time I see her. That's probably where you might recognize her from. She was also in the recent Exorcist movie, the recent Rebecca movie she was in, but she's been around for a long time. She was in the old 90s movie, Philadelphia. I cannot believe I just said old 90s movie.
That was painful.
That was
Yep.
painful for me too as it came out of my mouth.
Let's go to the old folks' home. Going to the old folks' home.
She was also in Lorenzo's Oil from the 90s. She's been around for a long time, making appearances here and there. However, every time I see her, I cannot unsee her as Aunt Lydia. And now she plays this character, which makes it even that much worse. So next, I'd like to talk about A24. I know that Courtney at least has mentioned A24 and how much, and you know, even though I knew what they did, I was surprised when I looked at this production company to see exactly what the list of stuff they've done. They have done a ton of stuff, but most recently, I'm going to tell you their top 5 producing movies that they've made, the most successful, and you're going to be pretty impressed. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once in 2022, which hopefully everyone's seen. It's a spectacular movie. I could have written a dissertation on. The movie Civil War, and if you have not seen it, I don't recommend seeing it right now at this point in time. Avoid at all costs for your mental health. But they did do this movie. Number 3 is Talk to Me. I've not seen that one. I don't know if Courtney has, but that's, I believe, divination with skulls or heads or something like that.
A hand.
A hand. There you go. Thank you. Number 4. This one was number 4. There's a nice montage of their various movies. Number 5 is Lady Bird. If you have not seen Lady Bird, I highly recommend seeing it. It's a brilliant film about a mother and a daughter. Other movies they've done, I'm just going to highlight a few others. The Whale, Moonlight, The Green Knight. We've done that here. A recent movie called Death of the Unicorn. Another small movie that maybe a lot of you haven't seen called The Florida Project, another mother struggling. It's actually excellent. I highly recommend it. More in the lines of Lady Bird. And of course, The Witch, which we've reviewed here, and Midsummer, which we've reviewed here. So you just go down the list and it's like, oh, that was an A24. And one of the things that I would say makes these movies special, with maybe the exception of Civil War and probably a few others I didn't name, was that they really let the story drive everything. The story is so important in these movies, whether it's a small story like Lady Bird between 2 characters or The Florida Project, or whether it's more fanciful and really using the medium as art like The Witch or Lighthouse, or even Everything All at Once. That's the story is so essential to these movies, which is what makes them so good. And drives them. So that's A24 for you. So go ahead and look at their list, and I highly recommend a lot of the movies that are here. And then let's see. So that was A24. So then Ritual Magic. Of course, we've already noted that. I just wanted to bring up that the demon and the symbol are actually real. They are in the Lesser Key of Solomon. And as Richard-Lael said, he isn't actually portrayed correctly. Of course, this is something film, cinematic witchcraft and cinematic occult portrayals often do. They pull something out that seems scary, and then they put a devil twist on it, a Christian overlay to create evil. And we can see this in all the witchcraft films that are similar to this in the 70s, the 80s and stuff. So, but that is actually real. And I know somebody in the comments already said they tried to summon Paimon and it did not work. So, I'll leave that to everyone else's magic and workings. I'm not going to recommend or not recommend on that note, but that was some real stuff. But that's going to take me to number 5, which is this movie fits into a lot of the movies in the 70s, particularly that have covens that appear, that do ritualistic magic to some type of evil entity, whether it's a demon or whatever they call it, Barabbas and Tanis, which was very big in the 70s. Here we have Paimon, whatever the case is. All of a sudden we have these innocent people who walk in on a demon, not a demon, a coven or a ritualistic satanic type thing. This is a trope in horror movies. It's also more of a trope. It really recalls when you have the nudity at the end and the ritualistic, all of that stuff really feels very much like we're turning to either the early 70s horror films specifically them, because that's the end where usually those films end, where the coven and the evil survive, and everybody gets consumed into it, which is what happens here. Or some in the 80s too. I made a couple things. To Save a Child has similar to this, but the 80s films that are like this, usually the good overcomes evil. In the 70s films, the evil overcomes the good. So this one, we have the evil overcoming the good. So really feels like a 70s, really interesting allegorically, because could this be statements about what we're going through? Could this be allegorically the struggle that we're having right now? Which typically that's what my book is about. So yeah. But also the other thing that's interesting here is it not even about the occult? And this is a question I'll pose, and we can discuss. Is the occult here, or is the ritualistic behaviors and the coven, or whatever they're called, is it just an allegory for trauma? For a trauma that a family passes on, and it doesn't really exist? Acquiring minds. And the other possibility is this an allegory for the way we look at gender in this world? Because in the end, the girls are killed, and who are these? The person that's uninteresting, just regular old kid, the guy has nothing special about him. He's the one who eventually winds up being the head of the coven, which is very typical for 70s occult films. They find the male, this white male standing up there. There's all these older people who are worshiping him. So is this sort of this throwback allegory to gender and gender roles, and what our society thinks is good and what our society rejects? So there's so much going on here. I'm just throwing that out. I won't go any further, because that's where we get into dissertation level, and I kind of go off the rails. So, but there's some really interesting things, and that's the point. This movie has more to it than the basic story. You have the basic story, which is interesting, and then you have possibilities. And that's why when people leave this movie, it lasts with them for so much longer after. So we can discuss that, and I will give you our family's reactions later.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Very thorough and beautiful between the two of you. We've got it. Anybody want to talk first, Courtney?
Me? Yes, please. Thank you. I have so much to say. Okay. So I'm not gonna say everything. I do want to respond to something that you just said first before I get into what I had planned to say, Heather, which is what I find interesting about the gender aspect of it, is that they're using his body, but when they're talking to him and explaining to him what's happening, they're talking to Charlie, who said earlier when she was talking about her grandmother, her mom saying, "Oh, she loved you best," and she said she wanted me to be a boy. And so it was like all of this, it just wild. And then even the brother, the mom's brother, which is the grandmother's son, was schizophrenic, and in his suicide note wrote something about it was his mother's fault because she put people inside his head. So, and then there was the note from the mom saying all of our sacrifices will be worth it. Like, it just wild. There's so much to this movie. I'm yelling because I'm so excited. I'm sorry. There's so much to this movie that, like, I've watched it so many times and I pick different things out of it every time I see it. But this is the movie that made me fall in love with A24, because in 2018, I had been for many years on a quest to find a movie, specifically a horror movie that was about either ghosts or demons, that made me lose sleep. And every time I would go see a movie, two things would ruin it. One of two things. It would either be the ending, or it would be when they showed the monster, because it was always bad. Everything was always bad. It was either one or the other, or both sometimes. And I was getting really discouraged. And I went and saw this movie. Like, I didn't see it really advertised as much as I see other movies. I went off the cuff. I went in to see it at the movie theater. And I sat there through the very last credit, and then went out to the car, and I sat in the car for 45 minutes before I could drive home, because I felt like I had been laid bare in the movie theater, and it was everything I wanted it to be. I was terrified. I felt all the things. Like, it was wild to me. So this has been a movie that I have had at the top of my list for a very long time, and I recommend it to everyone because of that. And it's the story, which I think is disarming because you have an unreliable narrator the whole time, it feels like, because you don't know, is it mental illness? Is it not? Is it occult? Is it not? There's scenes where you're looking at the scenery and it's the actual scenery, and then there's scenes when you're looking at the scenery and it's one of the miniatures. So it's like, or like it's the real scenery, but then the lights, it's going from day to night like a light switch is going off. One of the things that I appreciated so much that like made such an impact with me, and a lot of A24 movies do this, is that when they show you like the horrific thing, like the thing that you don't want to look at, in this instance, her head on the ground, it felt like an eternity in the movie theater. Like literally, I was like, whoa. And then I looked away and then I looked back and it was still there. And I was like, I'm not still supposed to be looking at this. So I'm going to look away again. And I'm going to look back and it's still there. Whereas other horror movies do it for shock value and they throw it in your face and then they take it away. So this, and I feel like they did the same thing in Midsummer. It's something that I love, that it like makes you, it puts the discomfort in your face and makes you sit with it. The other thing that I loved about this movie is that I have never seen a portrayal of trauma that is so akin to my trauma or my trauma responses on screen like that. Like when he is driving the car and he knows that like something horrible has happened, and he grips the wheel and he like tries to glance in the rearview mirror and then he looks away, and then he like is barely breathing and he whispers like, "Are you there?" or whatever he says. And then he just drives home and he goes to bed and he lays in his bed with his eyes open all night. And then that scene in the morning when you're looking at his face and you hear the mother open the car door and start screaming. Amazing. But it's that like, I literally, if I acknowledge that this is happening, I will not survive it. Like I cannot process this in my brain at all. And that's like one of my biggest trauma responses. So to watch it so perfectly displayed on the screen like that blew my mind. Hold on, I have other notes. Let me see if I covered everything that I wanted to cover in the beginning. Yeah, just I think that this movie spoke to me on so many levels. I like to go through and I like to decipher. Sometimes I watch it and I feel like it's mental illness. Sometimes I don't, because there's all the little clues and what's a red herring and what isn't. And I don't know. I think it gives something to everyone when you watch it, which is what a good movie should do. And I know I don't have a track record of liking good movies, but this is why. But this, to me, this is why it's so important to see a movie the way it's intended, because the impact that this movie made on the big screen in the theater is very different than the impact that it makes at home. And when I try to show this movie to people, I have rules, because you can't watch it in the daytime with lights on. You don't get the same impact because it's so dark. And there's certain scenes like when there's things in the shadows that like you can't even see it if it's too light out. You have to be in the dark and then you can see it. It's just wild. It's so beautifully shot. It's so ominous. And then tonight I watched it for the first time by myself, and I had to call I was so scared. I was scared and alone in my house, and I was so scared I had to call for help to go to the bathroom because I couldn't go by myself because it was dark in here. And then I put it back on to continue watching, and I screamed out loud because it scared me like I haven't seen it 40 times. So there it is. I love this movie, and anyone who says differently, this will be the biggest hex of them all. So
okay. Well, we love it. We all love it. We no.
Get hexed.
I applaud you to be able to get truly scared like that. I mean, I get scared in the moment. This was great. I got scared because I love to get scared, one. And number two, but this is what I do. This is seances, kind of spiritualist seances. And I, as a rule, because of my career, I don't like to be afraid at seances because that would be a weakness in me. So it was a total love-hate, having so much fear around a seance. It was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. But I can't imagine, and I was scared and I was watching it in all the right places, but I can't imagine had I had to get up and go to the bathroom that that fear would hold me. I think that's awesome that you have that ability,
Well,
Courtney.
I was in the dark. Okay, Patty, let's not pretend like after the Villisca Axe murder house, I didn't sleep with the lights on for 5 weeks. Okay. I play brave on TV and I'm actually a chicken. And I was alone in that nobody's here in my whole house and all of the lights were off because that's the rule. And you have to watch this movie with all of the lights off. So I had nothing and I couldn't, there was 100 ghosts between me and the bathroom. I couldn't do it.
And a Roomba.
And right here in the office. I had to make eye contact with it when I walked past.
And look behind you. Is your Robert the doll in a box?
2 of them, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
he can't breathe in a box.
Wise.
Well,
Yes, and put it in the basement too, like just far from you.
Box. Out
Yes, just
box. He can't breathe. I hope you don't have any Barbies in a box.
I have $1 in a box.
I may have to hex you. My first hexing. I'll have to come out.
They have breathing room. I can stick my finger in there.
And do
Oh,
you
yes.
want to live in a box?
yes.
Do you
Stick
want
your
to live in
finger
a
in
box?
I wish that I was in a box because then maybe I would have been protected to go to the bathroom and I could be an adult instead of an infant about it. Okay. But I couldn't because I was scared. And then I came back. First of all, I waited so long to use the bathroom that I was in the middle of the most horrific part of the movie when she's up in the ceiling. Okay. That's though, don't do that, first of all, because that's so scary. And then she's like scuttling around. No, thank you. And then I went to the bathroom because I knew I couldn't, I just had to. And then I come back and I push play. And then that's when she comes charging out of the corner of the room. And I literally, like, Alicia is there she is. Alicia's in the comments. She's the one that was on the phone with me while I was going to the bathroom. And I screamed in her ear because it just scared me so much. And now I don't know how I'm going to get out of the office. I'm in here with the lights on, but there's no lights on anywhere else in the house. So I'm going to have to call for help just to go, just leave. Okay. Because I'm terrified and I'm alone. And I'm not as brave as I pretend to be.
so you were scared and alone.
Right. In my
Uh-huh.
own house. And I don't like that.
We missed an episode opportunity there.
I almost went live just to have people around me.
People around.
So I could pee.
I must say, I agree with you on all of that, really. But about the relationship, the pain that they felt. I'm just not used to seeing or experiencing pain like that in a movie. That the trauma of what worse can happen to this family. What worse can happen to this family? I mean, I don't even have children, and I can't imagine losing a child would be the worst thing on the planet. And everything was so. This was definitely the designer, like dirty, icky. The people, they weren't, you knew they took baths, but it was dirty, icky. It just, everything about it. I got sucked in from the beginning until the end.
Okay, I'll go. The first half of the film is not predictable. The first half of the film, you think, as you get into it, I'm going to have this creepy child doing creepy little girl things. And then, of course, they end her life. And then it sort of becomes a little bit more predictable. Like the plausibility that it is a literal demon becomes much more plausible towards the end. And it is that old trope that you would have seen in the 70s. As someone who studies the demons regularly, I did not like the portrayal. King Paimon and all of the demons and all of the kings of hell and whatnot. King Paimon is actually a gentleman, and he will come in the form of a young person with an androgynous face. So he'll have a feminine face, and he rides on a dromedary, and he comes in with trumpets, and it's loud and it's obnoxious, or he will come as an old man. And he has a daughter that is a bad-built butch body. She also rides on a dromedary, but they both are, they're both known for their kindness as far as demons go. So I didn't appreciate the sort of slanderous version of what King Paimon is or is not. I will say, however, that I do, as far as magic goes, I do understand a little bit. I understand the trauma aspect of it. Um, but even as an artist myself, in the miniatures, that was where I really felt my magic. I started when I was a kid. I remember I was about 10, and I sat down and I drew a Victorian parlor. It had the sofa and the portieres. Now, this is something I actually did a little bit later on. This is a model that I did of the Addams Family Mansion. So there's a little portrait of me, which actually came before the real life-size portrait of me. That's my house. Anyway, so when I was a kid, I had drawn this portrait of a Victorian parlor, and this drawing, and I had wanted it, and I manifested it. I focused my energy on that, and then as I get older, yes, I did the Addams Family model. I did both the interior and the exterior. I've done doll houses. I've done it because it helps. It's a way for me to have some form of control, which is a trauma response. So you have some form of control, and it is your perfect little world. It is something that you are creating that other people cannot. So is it a demon or is it mental illness? Well, yes and yes and no and no. I think that it's a little bit of both. It was I was not scared. I did not find anything scary about this film, but it takes a lot to actually scare me, especially over a film. I think the hardest thing was Toni Collette's portrayal of this mother who has gone through so much loss. And then to have her husband, who, for all intents and purposes, is trying to figure out, where do I fit in this? And maybe you're the crazy one because these things didn't happen before I met you. Why is this happening? Maybe you're the crazy one. So that adds layer upon the trauma. So there's a lot of trauma. But as far as the magic goes, I do understand the magic because it is a way to create something that you can control. And when her mind has slipped as it has, she is desperately seeking something to control. It's a brilliant art form. It's brilliantly done. It's dark. It's beautiful. It is not scary. You know, I try to think of times that I've actually been scared on not just even of a film, but scared for real. Oh, I do know when I was scared for real. I was visiting Greece. I lived in Greece for about 5 or 6 months. I lived in Greece, and I was picked up at the airport, and the airport was in Corfu town. And I was living in Sidari, which is the other side of the island. And this Greek man picked me up in his BMW, and he proceeded to speed, doing 80, 90, 100 miles an hour around corners, over like near cliffs, passing trucks in a no passing zone. Yeah, I was scared then. I think that's the only time I've actually been scared.
That's scary. Thank you. Jason.
I've just been trying to be quiet and hang out in this corner in order to not get hexed. A lot of my feelings about this movie, I think Richard-Lael hit on some of them in his synopsis, and then he hit on it when he was just talking too. To me, this always felt like two different films. There's like the first half, and then when Charlie dies, to me, that was a shocking moment. And I was like, oh, I mean, I'm not shocked in films very often. That was shocking. And then the other part of the movie feels like an entirely different movie in places, because to me at that point, it stops being sort of the psychological thing to there's a real occult thing going on here now. And while I was originally watching the movie, I remember kind of getting angry because the occult things were not right. And there's no reason for them to be that wrong in 2018 because there's so much information out there that you can get the occult parts right. You don't have to make things up. you don't have to use the name of a demon and make him something that he's not in order to have a film. You can work with these things, and I just didn't feel like Ari Aster did that. And I love Midsummer, so I don't hate the director, writer, or anything, but I just feel like there were other things that could have been better about this movie. I know, Courtney, you're getting your hex ready, and yeah, so yeah, I mean, to me, it's very fascinating and interesting and beautiful. But there was just something missing that I just couldn't get past, or maybe there were just too many things put into it that didn't need to be put into it, in my opinion.
I'm going to jump in and give my opinion now. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
I love this movie.
Yes.
I disagree with, I don't think it was, I didn't see it as two movies at all. There was one point in the movie halfway where someone on the couch, we were watching it as a family, said, "Where's the horror? When's the horror going to happen?" No, I think what it does beautifully is it's a slow build, and it starts to integrate and weave the cult stuff slowly through it. And the horror in the beginning is really the growth of seeing the trauma, because you don't really know if the cult stuff is part of this. This woman didn't like her mother. Then she reveals what happened to her family. And then you see what's happening, and she buries herself in this reality versus unreality stuff that's going on, which slowly rolls over into more and more occult until it weaves it until the end, and then the kid dies. And it's just like this slow roll that goes over and over and builds and builds and builds. So it isn't like, it's more like The Witch at the beginning, this slow, haunting reality-based horror these people are living in till it starts to weave the occult into it. And I'm going to tell you, when it started to hit hard after the dad died, and they're standing there, and the mom appears up on the back corner, we're all, because it's brilliantly filmed, because you're focused on the main character who's standing there, and all of a sudden you see this white little figure up in the corner, and you're like, oh! And my child sitting next to me, 17-year-old, who loves horror, never gets scared at anything, grabbed onto me and buried down and said, "Mommy, this movie is very scary." It's like, oh my goodness, never scared at anything. And then we watched it, and it was after we couldn't stop talking about it. Like, what was it about? Was there really occult stuff? I love the fact, now I totally get the frustration that Jason was talking about, and that Richard-Lael was talking about them not presenting Paimon right. Yes, they can do it. But I also love that they pulled the 1970s off really well. The naked bodies around, the whole thing. I love the fact that they did that, because I love 70s horror. So that worked for me. I wasn't quite as frustrated with it, because it was like movie land, not occult land. So real occult land. But we could not get over it. I mean, we were talking about it like, what does this mean? And when was she possessed? Was she possessed? When was this person possessed? How did that happen? When did the girl go into the various things? So we all came up with kind of a theory. When we were done and finally calmed down, my same child goes upstairs, bedtime, gets to the top of the stairs. "It's dark up here. Mommy, come up here." "No, I'm not coming up here."
Yeah, Mommy, I need you too, please.
Go. I said, "You could just turn the lights on," but it's dark. "Turn the lights on. It won't be dark." We're yelling back, a mommy voice and everything. And then I hear silence for a second. And then, "Well, at least my mom's a witch and has salt." And then she goes running into the room. So that was the making sure the demons were not in the dark room, was, "My mom's a witch and has salt." The warning. It was fantastic. We had a great time watching it as a family. Definitely was scary. I didn't have problems going to sleep in the dark rooms or anything like that, but I witnessed it, Courtney. I witnessed it. So I thought it was a brilliantly done. I love the slowness. I love the way I love the way the whole story rolled out, and the interactions of the characters. I love the fact that I was confused at points. Like, it really, really made me think. And I think that part is one of the themes of this, is what's real and what's not real.
Yes.
between the houses, going back and forth between is this are these naked people real or are they a figment of imagination?
It was the worst orgy ever, though. So
another one.
I dressed for the occasion. At least there was an attempt at an orgy, though, in this movie.
Well, I don't know about that.
I was not. It did not lack boobs and butts.
Oh, okay.
It did not. It did not. Yeah. But I agree with you on all of that, Heather. Very well said. Very well put together.
Movies, they have to have people who act like real people and do things that make sense. The moment he takes his little sister to the keg party because his parents insist on it, I am out of the movie to some degree, even though I thought her death scene was the most pivotal moment of the film, because you just would not do that. It did not make any sense.
But is she
Well,
crazy?
I beg to differ. I beg to differ.
No, you
actually,
would not do that.
I beg to differ.
I would not do that. But she was already possessed by that point by the mother. Or she was crazy.
But also, he didn't say, "Hey, Mom, I'm going to a keg party." He said, "I'm going to a school barbecue."
Yeah,
You still don't take your little
I
sister to that.
But you do if you're terrified of your parents. You do whatever they tell you to. If you're terrified of your parents, they woke up with her dousing them with lighter fluid and lighting a match. They were terrified of her.
Yeah.
So I would do whatever my parents
13.
said.
Like you just don't tell your 13-year-old kid to go to a high school party. You just don't do that. It makes no sense.
Not if you're
it's a plot
parent.
device.
No, she's
it's only
not
a plot device.
Oh, it made sense.
I say this as having 12 children, so I know what I'm talking about.
I say
as
this
somebody who's had a lot of kids.
Right.
You know I don't have any kids, right?
Right.
I was the little sister, and my brothers would take me to weird parties that I should not have been taken to.
You were super cool, though, Patti.
That's right. This kid was not super cool.
No,
Yeah.
Parents did take your sister. I mean, yes, she was already crazy. Yes, they were. All those points are real, but I don't think it's that far off. Take your sister. That's like punishment at the same time and make you be good.
And there's also a lot of very selfish parents out there who want the house to themselves because they want time alone away from their kids. And she even said she had that whole monologue with him about how she never wanted to be his mother.
Yeah.
And she tried to miscarry him because she didn't want to be his mother. She didn't want to be his mother, etc. So she's not a good parent.
It'll never make sense to me. It'll never make sense to me.
Be thankful that it won't, because it makes a world of sense to me.
Yeah, it made sense to me too, and it even her, a good mother would have not, even if they had made her go, they would not have forgotten her EpiPen. She is not a good mother.
And they forgot her EpiPen every time, like constantly.
Yeah, they kept forgetting. She is not a good mother, and she was already off. And then we said, well, maybe, if it is true that if we get the occult demon side as actual true, the demon was aiming to get rid of the girl, to put the girl in the other body, the whole thing. So they might have possessed the mother to lead to those facts. So I totally bought it on multiple levels. Definitely could have worked.
I agree wholeheartedly.
It was really whacked.
Moving on. Do we have any quotes, Courtney?
No, this wasn't very quotable, but I did pull some up, but it was not a quotable movie, but I think because it left me speechless that's
Courtney.
Yes.
If I may, I have some quotes that you can use, and you can take credit for these, okay?
I won't take any credit because I purposefully did not write any down because I didn't think that any stood out for me.
Well, these are the quotes that I have for Courtney.
That's a shirt.
I have one.
No. That's a good one.
That's a good one.
Yeah. No, I think that the only really notable there's lines that were said in this movie that were important to the movie. Because I think a lot of what they're doing foreshadows what happens ahead of time and also provides a lot of explanation, even just in a couple words that are just kind of thrown in. But as far as like quotable moments, the only one really to me is when she's flipping out at the table and she's yelling at the son, which is, he's just killed his sister by accident. But he also says, he's like addressing her, or after this says something about, why was she at the party to begin with? You made me take her, like whatever, because she's blaming him. So he's telling her to just let it go, release it, yell at him because he wants to be held accountable, I think, but she's being crazy. So she screams at him, "Don't you swear at me, you little Don't you ever raise your voice at me. I am your mother. You understand? All I do is worry and slave and defend you, and all I get back is that effing face on your face. So full of disdain and resentment and always so annoyed. Well, now your sister is dead, and I know you miss her, and I know it was an accident, and I know you're in pain, and I wish I could take that away from you. I wish I could shield you from the knowledge that you did what you did, but your sister is dead. She's gone forever, and what a waste. If it could have maybe brought us together or something. If you could have just said, I'm sorry, or faced up to what happened, maybe then we could do something with this. But you can't take responsibility for anything. So now I can't accept and I can't forgive because nobody admits anything they've done." And this, to me, this block is the narcissistic parent.
Mhm.
And that is, I could have heard that 1,000 times in my life over different things. And it's just, that right there to me is why it was entirely plausible, because this is all about like, and then she screams this at him about his face that he makes, the face that he makes. Like, he's traumatized, obviously, because he had to do something that he wasn't supposed to do, shouldn't have done. But then she's saying, "Oh, I don't blame you," but blaming him and blaming him for his reaction to it when he needs his parents, he needs family, he needs comfort, he needs help. He's lost his sister also, who he took care of. And she's yelling this all at him. And then as soon as she's done, she sits at the table and she makes the face. She's like across the table at him. And it was like, it was the most triggering thing I've ever seen in my entire life, because that's my trauma. Like, seeing that, I was like, oh my God, I could gouge my eyes out.
She's a terrible mother right from the beginning.
Yeah.
And I think that's why, to me, like, in some parts of it, all the occult stuff that happens after is almost comforting, because it takes him away from that. Like, it removes him from that trauma. So I don't know. There's another layer why I love this movie.
Thank you, Jason. Do we have to have a Mankey movie moment? Masterpiece?
Is there a Mankey movie minute tonight? You want me to write jokes about a movie where a kid gets decapitated and another one was nearly set on fire by his mother? This movie just really lends itself to humor, doesn't it? And oh yeah, grandma is an evil, manipulative piece of garbage who tried to turn her own son into a vessel for a demon. Oh, this is the most fun show we've ever had. The fun is so strong, I think that when I'm done with our show tonight in about 10 minutes, I'm going to go watch Sean Hannity to keep the good times rolling. Or perhaps pick at my eye with a wine bottle opener. The entire Graham family reminds me of my own. I remember when we tried to get a demon to live inside of my brother. Oh, wait, I think he just had a stomach flu that night. It's the Witches Movie Coven. Don't we know how to have fun? It's the Witches Movie Coven. Oh, how I wish this bit was done. But I know you all crave more movie minutes, so I'm going to try. I really am. But I'm going to let you in on a little secret. I did not like this movie. I remember the first time I saw it, and I actually laughed at the ending. Oh, yay, you put an evil demon in the body of a stoner kid racked with grief. That seems like a great way to take over the world. I bet that plan is going to be successful. According to the Dictionary Infernal, Paimon is listed as the 22nd most important demon. I know, it's not a great ranking, but one would think that a 22nd ranked demon would demand something at least a little better. There has to be a retired pro wrestler to inhabit, or perhaps an accomplished pickleball player. Maybe someone from Fox News. That seems like an effective way to get the message out. In this day and age, even an obnoxious Instagram influencer might work. Wouldn't you want to start with someone who has a few thousand followers? In my witchcraft Illuminati chat groups, we don't even allow people in unless they have 4,000 followers on Insta. Just between you and me, wink, wink. Just feels like Paimon should have demanded more, much more. Magical sources say Paimon commands either 66 or 25 legions of demons. Do you know how big a legion is? A legion is always at least 5,000 people, so that's a lot of demons to command. I know if I commanded tens of thousands of demons, I would enlist the help of a bunch of senior citizens from the Home for Retired Necromancers to rescue me from my bodiless oblivion. Why have people ever bothered to raise or control demons? Just get Granny to do whatever you need done instead. That seems to be the moral of this film. And Paimon, you are a demon. Why would you even need an elaborate plan to possess someone? There just has to be an easier way. According to crazy preachers, demons can possess you when you play with Ouija boards, practice witchcraft, watch adult films, smoke the devil's lettuce, sip on whiskey, and pretty much dozens of other things. Just seems like a lot of work to inhabit the body of an average person. I'm not here to tell you how you should operate as a demon, but I'll tell you, this doesn't seem to be it. Boom.
I'm not clapping.
I love the old people summoning demon trope in horror movies. I think that's
I
so
did
good.
too, like Rosemary's Baby.
Rosemary's Baby, The Spell had it, and Brotherhood of Satan had it. It's just especially when they were. It was very Rosemary's Baby. It was very Rosemary's Baby.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah, I love that too. Because like, oh, good work for older actors.
Yeah, there's that too.
Who will go full frontal a
Hey.
lot.
Anyway, we have to vote. And if there's anything else to be said, say it soon, say it fast. Otherwise, I have to find my wand.
I have a lot of mother trauma, which may be why I don't like this film at all. Having
too.
difficult relationships with mothers over the years. So yeah, maybe that's my issue.
Maybe. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Up.
I'm going to put 4 legs up. I would put my legs in the air for this. But only so I could make that joke. Actually, I would do it. I mean, I didn't mind. I didn't mind it, Heather. I didn't mind it. My legs are going sideways for that.
So up, way down, and a sideways chair. So, okay, everybody in the chat room, please vote. Please vote. Yes, Courtney has great. Same. Nobody's voting. Nobody's voting.
Wand up.
Yay, Tabitha. Wands up. Yay, Marty. Okay.
Come on, somebody stand with Jason. Come on.
No, imagine
Come on.
being as wrong as
Come on.
Jason is.
Love,
Imagine
love,
just having
show some
such a
Jason
wrong
love. Let's see some Jason love. Oh,
Okay, I'm with Jason. I'm going to put mine. I'm going to put all 4 legs on the floor and say, no, this is a bad one. I have 4 legs, so 4 legs counts.
You guys are still completely losing because the chat room is with us.
Yeah.
Chat room
Imagine being so wrong.
up.
yeah, there we go. Christy rules.
All right. So, well, you guys get to decide. And I saw some in the chat room. People want to watch it now or rewatch it now after our discussion. And that's all we ever really want.
Follow the rules, keep the lights off, and then run to the bathroom like a demon's coming.
Yeah. And what are we going to do next weekend?
Midsummer's Night Dream. I believe it's 1999. The version. I believe Michelle Pfeiffer's in it.
Okay, so next week, Midsummer Night, because we are getting towards Midsummer. So a theme movie. Can't wait for Ghost of It. Yes, tonight, 10 o'clock and 9 Central. Central never has the same time zone as everybody else. I feel very bad for them. It's 10 on the West and 10 on the East, but Central, no. Anyway, so yeah. If you like that spooky sort of seance thing, watch Ghost Adventures tonight. Go to the bathroom alone.
It's rough out here, guys. It's real rough out here.
I want to get scared like you, Courtney.
You listen, I don't know, just Scared and Alone, being on Scared and Alone, like I'm not overacting how afraid I am, because this is what I do in the privacy of my own home also when it's dark and I watch the scary movie. So I just, it's like, it's rough out here.
If you
It's a
really
different
wanna
story
get-
when sorry.
Oh, go ahead, Courtney. Sorry. No,
I was
go
just
ahead.
gonna say it's different when there's people around, but when I'm by myself, I am the biggest chicken on the planet.
If you really want to get scared, I recommend driving around in a golf cart driven by Selena Fox. That is terrifying, and Ari and I both thought we were going to die that day. That is the scariest thing I've ever done. Oh yes, I whoosh in the golf cart, honking. Just honk. Don't go around people. Just honk. I love Selena, but I was very much convinced I was going to die. It was good though that she has like a cemetery on the property of Circle, because they wouldn't have had to move me very far.
That's all true.
Our host said who has seen Sinners. I have not seen Sinners.
Oh.
Looks like
Please go see Sinners, because like Hereditary, so I've seen Sinners 3 times in the movie theater. It got 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, which I don't always go by Rotten Tomatoes, but this time they were right. Sinners was filmed in IMAX, and so should be seen in IMAX, and this is a very good example of a movie that should be seen in the theater on the big screen. So I've gone to see it 3 times. I will probably see it again. It is hands down one of the best movies I have ever seen. If you go in expecting it to be straight horror, it's not.
Oh,
so
good.
don't be...
Finally, gay horror. I love it.
Oh, well, it was
Bravo,
it was gay.
bravo.
It was gay for me because I loved everybody. So it is very horny, but it's also it's beautiful. It's filmed beautifully. The story is incredible. I had chills the whole time. The music is amazing. Just go in, manage expectations, and just rein it, like just soak it in. It was great.
beautiful.
Minecraft does have a witch. Chicken Jockey. We should do Minecraft.
We'll think about that. Is that your birthday movie, Courtney?
No, Ouija Shark is my birthday movie.
Okay.
Next year birthday. Next year
birthday.
All right. So next week, Midsummer, and all of you come back. Tell your friends about us. Like us and follow us on social media. We do have an Instagram page for Witches Movie Coven, as well as all of our individual pages. Again, Ghost Adventures Tonight for all inclined. If you're anywhere near Hickory, North Carolina this weekend, come see me doing seances, ghost hunts, workshops, and all sorts of fun things. Anybody else have anything real fun going on?
I'll be in Austin on May 10th at Austin Witch Fest, and then in Tennessee at the Pagan Unity Festival, May 29th through June 1st.
Beautiful.
I'll be in Scotland next June. So you can go to tracelesstours.com, Sacred Tours, and you can find me there. You can book now. It's 10 nights, 10 days, 10 nights, I think. So you want to go, you don't want to miss it. Go to Scotland. Who knows? You might want to move there. I might. You never know. I may never want to come back.
It's lovely.
I already don't. How exciting is that?
We're not even there yet. All right. So yes, like us, follow us, go to our websites, buy our books, and get scared. Get really scared, because we like to get scared and be witchy. And we have one more thing. What, Courtney? You're good.
I was just gonna say, speak for yourself, because I don't know how I'm getting out of this office tonight.
Do you have your
Well,
phone with you with
You
a
need to call
flashlight?
me.
Just call us. It's fine. I'm on the West Coast. Like, I'm up for many, many more hours. Patty's super busy all the time, but I'm home because I don't have as much of a life.
Yeah, but I'm mad at you, so
Aw.
I don't know. I think that you'll summon demons to my
Not you,
house just
If
to
you
prove
call
me
me,
wrong.
I'll just tell you to turn the lights on.
Right.
Throw some salt at it, Buckley.
Get excited when you're scared, just like she did with her 17.
I'm just gonna open the door and go and see if anything comes. So
Yeah, call the producers.
One more thing to do on Discovery Channel now. Oh yeah, it's 10 o'clock back east. So I hope it's good. I'll see you in 3 hours at my watch power at my favorite dive bar, oldest bar in Hollywood. So on that note, 1, 2, 3.